And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Rasta Report here on LIV Radio, LIV TV, and livinginblack.com. My name is Kedia Wado, aka the Conscious Rasta. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live here on LIV Radio from 9 a.m. Pacific Time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 7 p.m. East Africa Time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Wednesday, the 9th of October, the year 2024 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6264 in the Kemetic calendar. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You've found your family in a peaceful place here on LIV Radio. Let me introduce, I hope you find to be a compelling topic for today's discussion. It is an extension of the set of studies that will contribute to the book Living Superfood Solutions. So normally we do this on Mondays and Tuesdays, but I had a conversation with a client, clinical nutrition client, who was dealing with a spectrum of disorders, assuming them to be age related, and of recent had an episode there by which he had a heart challenge. And so he and I talked, and he was waiting for his lab workups to be completed and sent to him. He did send me a copy of the labs, and I got a chance to read them through. And for the overwhelming majority of us, reading through these clinical labs, cardio labs, blood labs is not an easy task. And the labs were going to be referred to a cardiologist. And the thing about it is this particular client, who's also a dear friend, he has metabolic syndrome, 3 or more of what I've identified as 10 disorders of metabolism. And so now this one, it's like pile on. And many of us probably find ourselves in a situation where health-wise, it seems like it's pile on. You remember that game when we were children? We might be playing football or just wrestling or playing tag or whatever, and someone would fall on the ground, and then this holler, this yell would go out, pile on, and then everybody who heard the cry was expected to come and jump on top of the person until that person was underneath the pile. It wasn't very pleasant, especially after we got a little older and the body started getting heavier. But nonetheless, pile on is something we remember fondly, we joke about from our childhood. We are today focused on leading your heart to longevity. That's the opposite of pile on. Let's release these burdens. Lead your heart to longevity. We frequently explore the science of longevity in our many studies of human health and wellness. Today we consider the often spoken instruction to, quote, follow your heart. In our world, where we deliberately create conditions for optimized well-being and longevity, we aim to lead the heart to an extended, healthy lifespan. What are the limits to a healthy heart life expectancy? The answer to this question should be a pleasant surprise to us all. What are the limits? So that is what we're going to deal with today. We're going to answer this question. What is the natural lifespan, human lifespan? What's a natural lifespan of the human heart? We're going to be talking about a spectrum of medical conditions affecting heart function, with a particular focus on not just coronary heart disease, which is what we frequently focus on regarding cardiovascular health and longevity, but enlarged heart and different pathologies of the muscle, the organ, the heart are going to be part of our focus now. I did already do a study that is from the upcoming book, Living Superfood Longevity. We did one chapter already about cardiovascular health. This one will probably be not a sub chapter of that chapter, but I think I'll make this a separate chapter in and of itself, although they significantly overlap. So let's get into what I have assembled for today. I think I've got a lot of good research on the table. I posed this question. I'm now using 4 different AI search engines because, quite simply, using one of them, they're too inconsistent and unreliable. And many times they'll give me, the AI search will give me results when I know it's incomplete, because I've been doing these type of studies on biology, molecular science, cellular biology, whole body wellness and health. I've been doing these studies now for over 40 years. Actually, about 50 years now. You figure I went to work in a laboratory, a biological research laboratory, 50 years ago at age 19. So what is the natural lifespan of the human heart? I have heard it said often that the human heart should live to be 120 years old. There is a biblical reference to the 120-year lifespan God promised the prophets. So searching across these search engines, just to show you why I use multiples of them, they gave me different years. Using DuckDuckGo, which I've just started using, AI, it gives a expected lifespan of the human heart to between 70 to 80 years, with an optimized lifestyle for heart health, 80 to 90 years. Ecosia gives us a human heart life expectancy of 70 to 80 years, but optimized 80 plus years. It wasn't more specific than that. Copilot gives us 70 to 100 years natural lifespan of the human heart. And Brave, with an optimized lifespan or lifestyle, the life expectancy of the human heart between 80 to 100 years. So therefore, that gives us a range. We found other types of research today that talks about men and women optimizing their heart health with their lifestyle. And so I had to add that to my longevity calculator. So I'm pulling my life longevity calculator out again right now. Pull it up. And let me just right click on that, because I have the longevity calculator, longevity factors and average years gained. I have them assembled. There's a total of 29 of them with today's edition, and I have them assembled from the least years gain to the most years gain. And this one comes on definitely on the high end. Well, actually, right around the middle. There are a total of 29. This one comes in now at number 17. Optimize Heart Healthy Lifestyle. Average life years gained 5.75. Average life years gained for an optimized heart healthy lifestyle. So we'll get to, in today's conversation, what an optimized heart healthy lifestyle is all about. I do have this book, which is already done much great work. This is not a small book. This is called Miracle on 2 Feet, Stroke Prevention and Recovery. And I will have a chapter in Living Superfood Solutions specifically related to stroke, but here is the whole book, which overlaps significantly with healthy cardiovascular functioning. So let's go forward. Let's get this party going. Now, welcome your commentary wherever you're listening to us from. You know, your thoughts, your words, your insights, your inputs, your gratitude in the form of just a simple comment is going to be so wonderfully welcome today. So, are you in the house? Talk to your brother. We'd love to hear from you. And hit the like button, if you would. I see a couple of people have already done so. Love hearing from you. Okay, here, let me turn down. I just turned on. We are streaming today on my secondary YouTube page. So we love to hear from you there as well. And I'll try not to say those buzzwords that get ones banned. Still gets people banned from YouTube. They're still doing that. Facebook backed off the censoring, but hey, YouTube, they on a whole different level of engagement. I don't even want to go into it. Here we go. Here we are talking about cardiovascular health. I'm reading from the research I assembled for today. Lead your heart to longevity. Let's talk about these medical conditions that are affecting heart function. We're talking about the organic heart, not your romantic heart, not your spiritual heart, even though they are all connected. Oh yeah, they are. That's why the heart is an iconic symbol of love and romance and relationships. That's why the heart is an iconic symbol of our spirituality engagement with the world. So they are connected. Medical conditions affecting heart functions. And I took multiple AI searches and combined them. So here is the list. I think there's about 15 on the list. Number 1, coronary artery disease. Coronary artery disease. Now, there's a difference between arteries and veins. Arteries carry oxygen-rich blood from the lungs, goes through the heart, and then is pumped into the entire body. Whereas the veins are the return. Once the blood has done its job, the veins then carry the blood back into the system. The veins will also filter blood through the kidneys, but it returns carbon dioxide to the lungs. So there's the difference. So this is coronary artery disease, clogging of the coronary arteries, reducing blood flow to the heart muscle. This is the most common type of heart disease caused by the buildup of plaque in the arteries that supply blood to the heart. It can lead to heart attacks and all kind of problems. That atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in the arteries, is a major, major problem. That was a central theme in the book, Miracle on 2 Feet. Number 2, arrhythmia. These are irregular heartbeats that can cause the heart to beat too fast, too slow, or erratically. Types of arrhythmia include atrial fibrillation, the most common type of arrhythmia, ventricular tachycardia, VT, and ventricular fibrillation. So these are all different manifestations of irregular heartbeat. Number 3, congenital heart defects. These are structural problems with the heart that are present at birth. They can affect the way blood flows through the heart and to the rest of the body. Birth defects affecting the heart's structure or function include septal defects, holes in the heart, atypical heart valves, and congenital aortic stenosis. Aortic stenosis. The aorta is the valve leaving or entering the heart. Aortic. You have your left ventricular, which is the side that's pumping blood through the, what's that part called? I may have mentioned it already. I'll get to these different parts of the body. I've been studying structure of the heart as well. But the ventricular is the muscle pushing blood up into the aorta, I think it's called. I could be wrong. But then there is the valve, which then goes to the vein. And the valve, of course, pumps in and out to keep the pressure the right way. So we're talking about with these congenital aortic stenosis, meaning that the aortic valve is not closing completely. It's being stretched out. It's getting loose, flabby. Number 4, man, that's a lay person's description. Number 4, heart failure. This condition occurs when the heart is weakened or unable to pump blood effectively, leading to symptoms like shortness of breath, fatigue, and fluid retention. Instances of heart failure include left-sided heart failure, arterial, right-sided heart failure, venous, and biventricular heart failure, both sides. And then again, the ventricular is the muscle mass that's doing the pumping. Number 5, cardiomyopathy. This refers to diseases of the heart muscle, which can cause the heart to become enlarged, thickened, or stiff, affecting its ability to pump blood. Examples of cardiomyopathy include hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, meaning stiff, thickened heart muscle walls, dilated cardiomyopathy, meaning enlarged heart chambers, and restrictive cardiomyopathy, stiffened heart chambers. Cardiomyopathy, very, very important. And I'm not going to mention about the aftermath of the pandemic, the huge number of sudden cardiac arrest. But we will be talking about thrombosis. So if you make a connection there, you've done your research. Number 6, heart valve disease. This involves damage to one or more of the heart's valves, which can disrupt blood flow through the heart, including mitral valve prolapse, is abnormal closure of the mitral valve, allowing blood to flow back into the heart. Aortic stenosis, narrowing of the aortic valve, reducing blood flow from the heart to the bodies. That's aortic stenosis. And endocarditis. Infection. Itis always means infection. When you see that in a word, endocarditis. Infection of heart valves or inner lining. Myocarditis is inflammation of the heart muscle, often caused by viral infections, which can affect the heart's ability to pump blood. But I would say often caused by bacterial, parasitic, or viral infections. Again, what is a virus is a question always looming in the background. But we do see there are bacterial and parasites that can infect the heart and definitely interfere with the heart's ability to pump blood. Endocarditis. Number 7 on our list of different heart affecting diseases, rheumatic heart disease. This is scarring and damage to the heart valves and surrounding issue caused by rheumatic fever. And rheumatic fever is a bacterial infection. Let me just real quickly, I'm going to pull up what is a definition of rheumatic fever. Bear with me. We're using DuckDuckGo. Rheumatic fever is an inflammatory disease that can involve the heart, joints, skin, and brain. Causes. Let me pull up causes. It's talking about, okay, it is bacterial. I'm pulling this up from Wikipedia, not one of our favorite sites, but it gave me a quick definition of what I was looking for. Rheumatic fever is an inflammatory disease, inflammation, that can involve the heart, joints, skin, and brain. Typically develops 2 to 4 weeks after a streptococcal throat infection. That's a bacterial. Signs and symptoms include fever, multiple joints, painful joints, involuntary muscle movements, and occasionally a characteristic non-itchy rash known as erythema marginatum. And again, the heart is involved in about half of the cases. Damage to the heart valves, known as rheumatic heart disease, usually occurs after repeated attacks, but can sometimes occur after one. The damaged valves may result in heart failure, atrial fibrillation, and infection of the valves. And again, when they're talking about multiple, you're talking about scarring, scar tissue from multiple bouts of inflammation. That's a good reference. Let me just post that one up for anyone studying along. This is rheumatic, RHEUMATIC, fever. And hopefully you'll find that to be useful. Welcoming any and all of your contributions, your comments. I'd love to hear what you think about today's conversation here on LIV Radio, LIV TV, and livinginblack.com. We are talking about getting more detailed into cardiovascular health, leading your heart. Lead your heart to longevity. That is the instruction for today. Lead your heart. Lead your heart. Follow your heart is a beautiful idea, but we want to lead our heart. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt whatsoever. Here we go. Let's continue. Next we have on the list, number 8, pericarditis. Again, the suffix itis. We know it means inflammation. Pericarditis, inflammation of the pericardium, the sac surrounding the heart, which can cause chest pain and other symptoms. And this inflammation is going to quite likely be bacterial again in nature, but we cannot discount parasitic and or viral infection as well. And I'm not going to argue every time I say the word virus. You've heard my arguments long enough. That was number 8, pericarditis. Number 9, cardiac hypertension. This is high blood pressure affecting the heart, leading to increased workload and strain. Cardiac hypertension. Number 10 on the list, hypertension. High blood pressure. This is across throughout the body. Chronic high blood pressure can damage the heart and blood vessels, leading to various heart conditions. High blood pressure in the lungs affects the heart's ability to pump blood. HPB in the kidneys can often lead to decreased kidney function. So we have cardiac hypertension, but then we have generalized hypertension. And hypertension can affect literally all of the body's systems. It's a metabolic syndrome disorder that's very, very destructive. We cannot overemphasize the point. I recently spoke to someone and was surprised that that person was on 7 different medications and didn't know the names of them all, didn't know what they were. That's bad. You don't want to live like that. You don't want to live like that, especially of those 7 medications. I suggested strategies that could get rid of probably at least 3 of them. If you are going to change your lifestyle and take on natural nutrition-based and or supplement-based strategies, if you are currently on prescribed medication, you must, absolutely must, tell the prescribing physician that you are using these other alternatives. In the case of hypertension, if you then start taking nattokinase supplement, which is a natural blood thinner, then you may have to stop those other blood thinners, including aspirin and calcium channel blockers. You may have to stop them. But I tell you, if you do add these natural suggestions that I'm going to be talking to you about, you definitely, if you're hypertension, you want to monitor your blood pressure 3 times a day. Because if the natural stuff starts kicking in and working real well, and you're taking the prescribed drugs, you may have gone too far. So you'll want to constantly be correcting, which is why you inform your prescribing physician. Now, I'll let you know in advance, the prescribing physician is going to want to argue with you. They are going to want to tell you, stop taking those natural supplements and things because they can interact with my medications. Well, that was the intention. We wanted them to displace those prescribed drugs. But doctors are tricky, though. They don't like losing money. They don't like losing clients. Unless, well, that's a whole other subject. Let's continue. Here we are talking about different manifestations of heart disease. We got up to number 10 was hypertension. Number 11, atherosclerosis. We brought this up a little bit earlier. This is the hardening and narrowing of the arteries due to plaque buildup, which can lead to reduced blood flow and increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. It can lead to reduced blood flow, hypertension, which is high blood pressure, and increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. It can also lead to, there's more conditions, can lead to peripheral neuropathy, which is when your peripheral, your fingers, your toes, your arms, and your legs, the blood vessels are clogged and you're not getting sufficient oxygen flow. And so therefore the nerves start to tingle. And it could be even worse. You could get edema, which is swelling of the legs or of the feet. Atherosclerosis is a big problem. Number 12, deep vein thrombosis, blood clots in the deep veins, which can break loose and travel to the lungs, causing pulmonary embolism. Or the deep vein thrombosis could travel to the brain. Number 13, pulmonary embolism, blockage of the pulmonary arteries by blood clots or other debris. And I don't think that's necessarily accurate. It should read blockage of the pulmonary veins or blood vessels. I'll just change, because arteries carry oxygen-rich blood away from the lungs. So if there's blockage, it's going to be going into the lungs. So that doesn't appear to be correct, but I'm just going to change that to of the pulmonary arteries. No, I'm just going to change the word arteries to blood vessels, which includes arteries and veins. Okay? Number 14, enlarged heart. Left ventricle hypertrophy, LVH, is a condition where the muscle wall of the heart's left ventricle, the one that's pumping oxygen-rich blood, thickens. This can make it harder for the heart to pump blood effectively. Left ventricular hypertrophy is characterized by the thickening of the heart's left ventricle, often due to increased workload from high blood pressure. I'm going to repeat that. Left ventricular hypertrophy is characterized by the thickening of the heart's left ventricle, often due to increased workload from high blood pressure, heart valve diseases, or other cardiovascular conditions, including atherosclerosis. A functional medicine approach to left ventricular hypertrophy focuses on identifying and addressing the root causes of the condition rather than just treating the symptoms. And this was the beginning of inquiry and the engagement, the portal for inquiry of the conversation I was recently had with a client. The left ventricle is the heart's main pumping chamber. During left ventricular hypertrophy, the thickened heart wall can become stiff. Blood pressure in the heart increases. The changes make it harder for the heart to effectively pump blood. Eventually, the heart may fail to pump with as much force as needed. Uncontrolled blood pressure is the most common cause of left ventricular hypertrophy. Complications include irregular heart rhythms, called arrhythmias, and heart failure. Cannot overemphasize the critical nature of what is being reported here. Cannot overemphasize the problems. Bear with me here. What is going on? I am live there. For some reason, the you and tune in feed has stopped. And I just restarted it. My apologies to those of you on YouNow. We welcome you, the YouNow family. We do not leave you behind, no doubt. You are in the house today. And I just restarted. All right. We continue. We're talking about lead your heart to longevity. lead your heart to longevity. Again, optimizing the lifestyle that supports heart health adds 5.75 years average life years gained. And of course, the number one leading cause of death in the United States and in the world is heart failure. So let's give ourselves that advantage. 5.75 years, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Here we go. Let us continue. I have this list, and the list got up to 14, which was enlarged heart, which really now takes us into this larger conversation on left ventricular hypertrophy. Causes. Left LVH, I'll call it, is often caused by conditions that increase the workload on the heart, such as hypertension, high blood pressure, and aortic stenosis. Aortic stenosis, or AOS, is a narrowing of the exit of the left ventricle of the heart, where the aorta begins, such that problems result. It may occur at the aortic valve, as well as above or below this level. It typically gets worse over time. Symptoms often come on gradually with a decreased ability to exercise when occurring first. If heart failure, loss of consciousness, or heart-related chest pain occur due to aortic stenosis, the outcomes are worse. Loss of consciousness typically occurs when standing or exercising. Signs of heart failure include shortness of breath, especially when lying down, at night, or with exercise, and swelling of the legs. Thickening of the valve without causing obstruction is known as aortic sclerosis. Thickening of the valve. So we have the thickening of the left ventricular. That is called ventricular hypertrophy. But now, thickening of the valve, aortic sclerosis, whereas the narrowing of the exit is aortic stenosis. Causes of left ventricular hypertrophy include being born with a bicuspid aortic valve and rheumatic fever. A normal valve may also harden over the decades due to calcification. A bicuspid aortic valve affects about 1 to 2% of the population. Again, that's a congenital. As of 2014, rheumatic heart disease mostly occurs in the developing world. Risk factors are similar to those of coronary artery disease and include smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and being male. The aortic valve usually has 3 leaflets and is located between the left ventricle of the heart and the aorta. Aortic stenosis typically results in a heart murmur. Its severity can be divided into mild, moderate, severe, and very severe, distinguishable by ultrasound scan of the heart. And so that's what my associate sent me, his electrocardiogram, I should say. And I looked through it and I read through it. These things are not the easiest, but they have the chart and they can actually read that electrocardiogram graph, and you can see little fluctuations in the way it's moving. And those slight fluctuations relate to different chambers of the heart. You can see the left ventricular, you can see the right ventricular, you can see the left and or right what is it called? Aorta, the opening. Yeah, the aorta. Real interesting. If I had to do my life all over again? Would I become a cardiologist? Hell no. Hell no. But I would like to have gone to medical school. I love this science. But I would not become a cardiologist. Maybe I would. Once I think about how much money they make. They make a lot of money. I can do a lot of things to change the world. And I don't have to necessarily, wouldn't have to just follow the straight AMA protocol. I would be a complementary doctor. Not a bad deal. Maybe I will go to medical school. Number 3, diagnosis. Left ventricular hypertrophy is typically diagnosed using imaging techniques like echocardiography. That's the one I was thinking about. Echo, that's where they use the sound, which can visualize the thickened heart muscle. Electrocardiograms, ECGs, can also show characteristic changes associated with LVH. Pathophysiology. Patho meaning injury, physiology meaning the structure. The thickening of the heart muscle can lead to increased stiffness, higher blood pressure within the heart, and eventually reduced cardiac output. Now, at that particular point, it's like, sorry, but you're on your way out. Treating left ventricular hypertrophy. Point 5, managing underlying conditions, controlling high blood pressure, and treating conditions like aortic stenosis are crucial. Medications such as ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, and calcium channel blockers can help manage hypertension. And again, those 3 medications I just mentioned, ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, and calcium channel blockers, I mentioned all of them in this book, Miracle on 2 Feet. And to me, these drugs are dangerous. Let me see if I can find them. ACE inhibitors. No, I don't have these drugs listed in the index, which I should have done. But I do know I have one chapter that talks about the drugs that are commonly given in allopathic medicine. So they have a chapter on alternative medicine, food medicine. We're going to go with allopathic stroke therapies. And we talk about these different drugs. On page 54, common blood pressure medications include, number 1, ACE inhibitors, angiotensin converting enzyme like enalapril, lisinopril, perindopril, and ramipril. Now, these ACE inhibitors, angiotensin, which is caused by activity in the adrenaline glands. Angiotensin is intended to increase blood pressure. That is one of our responses to fight or flight. There's 2 types of angiotensin. There's type 1, type 2. Type 2 is an extreme emergency. And this immediately sends sodium or releases sodium throughout the body to trigger high blood pressure. And that can happen just in an instant. Angiotensin, this process converting enzyme, then is intended to convert that enzyme to where you don't have that intense lasting reaction of hypertension. Calcium channel blockers like amlodipine, felodipine, nifedipine, diltiazem, and verapamil. Calcium channel blockers, again, these are intended to reduce the ability of blood constriction. And the worst part about them is they do lead to erectile dysfunction. And then you have beta blockers. These commonly used medications are prescribed to help lower blood pressure in several ways, but they got a long, long list of side effects. We're talking about left ventricular hypertrophy. And these drugs that they're going to give you for this have this long list of side effects. And this is what I was asking my client if he knew the names of the drugs, but he didn't have that list handy. More common side effects of using these hypertension meds include blurred vision, chills, cough, cloudy urine, confusion, decreased urine output, concentrating ability, difficulty breathing, dizziness, fainting or lightheadedness when getting up suddenly, fever, sweating, unusual tiredness or weakness. Other less common side effects, those are the most common. The less common ones include abdominal or stomach pain, body aches or pain, chest pain, common cold, cough-producing mucus, diarrhea, difficult or labored breathing, ear congestion, fainting, fever or chills, headache, loss of voice, nasal congestion, nausea, runny nose, sneezing, sore throat, tightness in the chest, and vomiting. That's from the book Miracle on 2 Feet. I sent the book to two of my dear friends from many, many decades back. The wife had unfortunately suffered a stroke and was in recovery. And I sent them my book, and I heard back from the husband, and he said, Kitty, thank you so much. She is doing so much better. And she definitely loved the book. She's a very literate person. But stroke can be devastating, people. Please, we're going into the season of the year with the highest sudden deaths from cardiovascular disease. Stroke is a major contributor to, we're going to be losing people this winter, beginning November, December, and January. We're going to be losing people. I am at this age and stage as a baby boomer where I'm losing my friends that I've known for many, many years. Lost 2 of my best friends for life this past year. Please, people, I love you. You love me. Let's help each other preserve longevity. Can we do that with and for each other? Lead your heart. Lead your heart. Follow your heart. Lead your heart to longevity. That is the topic for today. Let's go back into the research where you're talking about these different underlying causes of enlarged heart. Every time I say left ventricular hypertrophy, I could just use enlarged heart. The same thing. Lifestyle changes. Again, adopting a heart-healthy lifestyle is essential. This includes balanced diet. I don't say balanced diet. I say optimized diet. Because balance means you're still putting in the bad stuff with the good stuff. I say put in the good stuff with the great stuff and get the advantage of 5.75 average life years gained. So this includes an optimized diet, regular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, body mass index, and avoiding smoking and excessive alcohol consumption. I say avoid smoking and alcohol consumption. I'm going to take that excessive out. There is a little bit of alcohol in vanilla extract, but it's generally not going to be present in any amount when you finish cooking or whatever you're doing with your vanilla extract. You're using such a small amount, it's not problematic. But alcohol consumption, I do not sign on to the idea that red wine is good for you. it's better for you than other alcohols because of the presence of the resveratrol. But when you think about it, the resveratrol combined with alcohol, and alcohol is a known neurotoxin. So it's like, that doesn't work for me. I don't combine toxins with beneficials, antioxidants. You just don't combine toxins with antioxidants. We are talking about improving these conditions. Number 7, monitoring and follow-up. Regular follow-up with a health care provider is important to monitor the condition and adjust treatment as necessary. And if you are not able to manage enlarged heart or other cardiovascular, cardiac conditions, then you're going to need help. A quality health provider will be able to help. There's a lot of non-quality health providers out here. I said there's a lot of non-quality health providers out here. That is verified by the condition or the description of what is called death by doctor, also known as, what's the word? I use it all the time. Death by doctor. Iatrogenics. That's the word. Iatrogenics. Pretty sure I have that word here in the book, in the index. Let me find you a definition of iatrogenics. No, it's not in the index. I probably do mention the word in the book. Iatrogenics, death by doctor, means there's a lot of bad medical practices out here. Adverse drug reactions. You have medical errors in hospitalized situations. You have medical errors in outpatient clinic situations. You have malnutrition in hospitalized situations. Malnutrition in hospital, they're supposed to have on staff clinical nutritionists, certified nutritionists. Why are people constantly telling me when they go to visit their friends or relatives in the hospital that the hospital serves them the very same foods that made them sick? They're putting McDonald's franchises in certain medical facilities now. That's crazy. Number 8, advanced treatments. In severe cases, surgical interventions like valve replacement or procedures to reduce the thickness of the heart muscle may be necessary. How are you going to reduce the thickness of the heart muscle? Through surgery? That sucks. Of course, they have stents that can be used to pry these arteries and or veins open. There are different types of procedures we talk about where they go through and run a roto-rooter through your arch and your veins, trying to scrape off that stuff, that plaque that's built up in there. But that's real dangerous, because where is the scrapings going to go? Understanding and managing enlarged heart involves a combination of medical treatment, lifestyle changes, and regular monitoring to prevent complications and improve heart health. I asked today, and we went over this a little bit earlier, what is, with an optimized heart healthy lifestyle, what is the natural lifespan of the human heart? Here's where some of the responses that came back. And we've covered this in no small part. I summarized this, but let me go into the raw stuff. With an optimized heart healthy lifestyle, the natural lifespan of the human heart can be significantly extended. Research indicates that individuals who maintain ideal cardiovascular health can gain additional years of life expectancy. For example, men and women with optimal cardiovascular health at age 50 can expect to live approximately 5.2 years for men and 6.3 years for women longer, respectively, compared to those with poor cardiovascular health. Key factors contributing to a heart healthy lifestyle include: number one, healthy diet. Consuming a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grain, lean proteins, and I say clean proteins, and healthy fats. Point number two, regular physical activity. Engaging in at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. 3, avoiding tobacco, not smoking or using tobacco products. Number 4, maintaining a healthy weight, BMI, body mass index. Keeping a healthy body weight to reduce strain on the heart. And let me tell you, people, we got to get out of these obesity classes. Let me repeat that. We got to get out of obesity classes. Overweight is problem enough. Overweight and or obesity, according to my book, Get the Weight Off, are directly associated with 33 different disease diagnoses. So by just eliminating overweight status, you reduce your risk of premature suffering and or dying from 33 different disorders, including one of those 33 is all causes morbidity and mortality. So it's just a good way to live. It's a good thing to do for yourself. Next on the list, maintain and manage your blood pressure. Keeping your blood pressure within a normal range. Number 6, controlling cholesterol levels. Now, that is so easy to do, people. It's so easy to keep a balanced cholesterol levels of the lowest LDL you can manage, along with the highest HDL, high density lipoprotein. HDL is your friend. HDL, if you get your HDL levels up, it naturally lowers the LDL, because both of them are means and mechanisms for carrying cholesterol from the stomach throughout the body where it's needed. But LDL is lazy. LDL won't carry it ultimately to where it needs to be. LDL will carry it for a while and just dump it. LDL is lazy. LDL. And the thing about it is I've given you this one simple technique so many times. We've given it to you. So we're going to have to ask the question, do we really want to live? I would like to say the answer to that question is yes. Number 7 on this list for optimizing our heart healthy lifestyle. Number 7, managing your blood sugar. Keeping blood sugars levels in check, especially for those with diabetes. Now, if you've got diabetes, you're going to have to take the drugs unless you can correct your diabetes. I don't have Dr. Gabriel Cousens' book here on one of these shelves. I usually would have a 2 or 3 bookshelves in my office studio when I had the house. And I'd have all these books, my favorite go-to books, and then I'd have one bookshelf that was within arm's reach. I could just stand up, walk over, pull it off, and that was one of the ones, There is a Cure for Diabetes by Dr. Gabriel Cousens. One of the best books of the generation regarding metabolic health. Dr. Gabriel Cousens. I salute you, my dear brother. managing your blood sugar. Get rid of your diabetes. Get rid of it. Reverse the diagnosis. Do it. No excuses. And number 8, getting quality sleep. Ensuring adequate and restful sleep is a good way for avoiding enlarged heart. By adhering to these practices, these heart healthy lifestyle practices, individuals not only extend the lifespan of their heart, but also improve the overall quality of life, reducing the risk of chronic diseases and enhancing longevity. By adhering to these heart healthy lifestyle practices. Yes, 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 yes. So we're getting near the end of today's condition. I'm looking through my raw data when I first started this explanation, or this exploration. It talked about a lot of these topics we've covered today. This one here, let me expand on this. This was useful. Medicines that might be used to treat enlarged heart or the conditions that cause it include, we'd mentioned these, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, ACE inhibitors. These medications widen blood vessels to lower blood pressure. They can improve blood flow and decrease the strain on the heart. Side effects include a persistent cough. And then there is angiotensin 2 receptor blockers, also called ARBs. These medicines have benefits similar to ACE inhibitors, but don't cause a persistent cough. Beta blockers. These medicines help control the heart rate. They also help the heart move blood with less force. Calcium channel blockers. These medicines relax the heart muscle and widen blood vessels. This reduces blood pressure. Water pills, also called diuretics. These medicines reduce the amount of fluid in the body, lowering blood pressure. But reducing the amount of fluid in the body, to me, is not an ideal, not an optimized solution. The reason you have so much water in the body is because you're consuming so much salt. And that salt retains water, but that water is not able to do what water does, and that is to thin the blood. Now, if I were in a situation like that, I would just get some nattokinase, which I think I did just get some nattokinase here recently in my most recent charge of Vitacos. A lot of different, I'm just pulling these out right now and reminding myself I haven't taken these in the last few days or so. We got some new ones. I just replenished my vitamin B complex. I got my vitamin D3 over here, my men's once daily, my Cascara Sagrada on my detox, Eleuthero root. That's it. Arctic root, Eleuthero root. But I have my bioavailable folate. But where is the one I was just looking for? Oh, I just upgraded. Got my DHEA, astragalus, just upgraded that one. And what was I looking for? I think I got nattokinase, because I know I threw my old bottle of nattokinase away because I replaced it. Saw palmetto, got to put that one on for today. But mega nattokinase. This is used instead of those calcium channel blockers, beta blockers, angiotensin receptor blockers, and ACE inhibitors. Mega nattokinase. This is made from organic fermented soybeans, nattokinase. It's a Japanese food. This is the extract from it. And this will do the job. This will take care of business. Let me see. I don't have a pair of extra eyes. They put the fonts so small on these. I'm not even going to try and strain through reading it. But that's okay. Surgery, other procedures dealing with enlarged heart, left ventricular hypertrophy that is caused by aortic valve stenosis might require a catheter procedure or surgery to repair or replace the valve. Surgery or other procedures may be needed to treat underlying conditions such as hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Surgery may be done if the condition causes heart failure symptoms or blockage that interferes with the heart pumping action. Amyloidosis. Amyloid, we recognize that with our research into cognitive disease and Alzheimer's. Amyloidosis is a rare disease that occurs when a substance called amyloid builds up in your organs. Amyloid is an abnormal protein that is produced in your bone marrow and can be deposited in any tissue or organ. Amyloidosis frequently affects the heart, kidneys, liver, spleen, nervous system, and digestive tract. It is often overlooked because it may cause no symptoms at first, and when there are signs or symptoms, they can look like those of more common diseases. If other treatments don't work, a stem cell transplant may be needed. Treatment for amyloidosis is available at specialized clinics. So that brings us back to lifestyle choices is, to me, the only option. The ideal option, the best option. Do the best for you. You deserve the best. Do the best for you. Eat a nutritious, healthy lifestyle. Choose fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I would say eliminate dairy. This one says low-fat dairy products and good fats, definitely good fats, such as avocado, seed oils, seeds, nuts. Those are the good fats. Low-fat dairy products, if you're going to be consuming dairy, which I'm never going to recommend to anybody because that's cow's milk. It's not even a human species. If you're going to be consuming dairy, it has to be low-fat, because the fat carries toxins and poisons that the animal has been exposed to. And good fats, such as walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, flax seeds, hemp seeds, olive oil, black seed oil. Limit foods and beverages that are higher in added sugars, salt, and saturated fat. Choose low sodium or no salt added foods. Don't add salt to your meals. Oh, my daddy used to get so upset when our maternal grandfather, who was living with us after our mother transitioned, he used to get so upset when grandfather would grab the salt shaker before even tasting the food and just work it over the plate. I've seen other people do that too. That bugs me as a chef. That bugs me too when I make all the food, put it all out, and somebody says, "You have any salt?" And I say, "Salt? What for?" And then I say, "Well, in certain cases, I had to taste the soup." And I said, "I agree. The soup is lacking salt. It's obviously missing." So, but generally though, people who just, without even tasting the food, grab the salt shaker, you are a salt addict. Don't smoke. Don't use tobacco. Quitting is the best way to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease and its complications. Limit or avoid alcohol. Alcohol raises blood pressure, especially if consumed in binge drinking amounts. If you choose If you choose to drink alcohol, do so in absolute moderation. That means up to one drink a day for women and up to two drinks a day for men. For me, at that particular point, you're an alkie. I mean, what's the alcohol doing for you? What it is doing is interfering with the glutamate uptake, which dulls the function of the neurological system, which means you're pacifying yourself by dulling down your ability to receive input signals from the world. You don't want to do that. You don't want to live like that. Exercise regularly. Regular physical activity helps to lower blood pressure. Aim for at least 30 minutes of physical activity most days of the week. I get my 30 minutes in the morning before I even get out. Some sports or exercises can temporarily raise blood pressure, especially if you're doing stress-related exercises and or weight training. Temporarily raise blood pressure. So you want to make sure that the exercises that you're doing, if you're already hypertensive, you want to make sure that the exercises that you're doing aren't going to cause your blood vessels to burst from acute hypertension. And of course, manage your weight. If you are overweight or have obesity, losing just a few pounds can help lower blood pressure. Just a few pounds. Weight loss will help to reverse left ventricular hypertrophy, meaning swelling of the heart, or enlarged heart. Set realistic goals for your weight. Try. You have to try. People have to try. You have to put in the effort. No pain, no gain. It's not that painful. It's not that painful. Well, it could be painful, but it's no pain, no gain. I'm doing my morning exercises right now because of the detox fast. Every 2 days I increase my reps of my core exercises by 5. Well, now I don't just have the 3 core exercises and then the stretching between each one. Now I have my morning routine has 9 different levels, 9 different functions. And a couple of them are painful. I do this one because I had been dealing with edema, swollen feet and swollen legs where you push your finger into it and the dent stays there, and that's no longer a problem because I found this exercise where you're laying there in your bed and you pull your toes back and press them down, And they said do about 20 to 30 of those once or twice a day. Well, today I did 145 of them in the morning, and I did 140 last night when I went to bed. And I no longer have that. Plus, the peripheral neuropathy, which had been tingling my toes for an extended period of time, is pretty much about, I would say, 70% diminished. And so this is a good way of keeping that blood flow. And I'll be honest with you, my calves is rocking. My calves are rocking. Got great tone and muscle tone to them. Look a little ashy. But that's a whole nother topic. And last point about optimizing your cardiovascular health, manage stress. Especially recognizing that angiotensin and angiotensin 2 are both the consequence of your body's acute response to stress. So manage stress. Find ways to help reduce emotional stress. Get more exercise. Practice mindfulness, meditation, breathing exercises. And connecting with others in support groups are some ways to reduce stress. Mindfulness, yoga, stretching, and balance exercises. Breathing techniques. These are all great ways for you and I to manage stress, reduce stress, eliminate stress. Stress is going to happen, but we can reduce the stress. So I'm going to begin to wrap it up. I can hear my grandson is hollering for his grandpa to give his mommy a break. I want to thank you all for tuning in today, for being a part of our ongoing Knowledge Wisdom Academy here, LIB Radio. The research I'm putting together is for the upcoming book. The book is entitled Living Superfood Solutions, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and add today's conversation as a new chapter to the book. Here I'm trying to start editing the book as we speak. I'll wait, because when I open Microsoft Word and all of these other different pages, I don't have too many open, but if I open too many of them up, yeah, it's going to cause problems. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have this available to us now. This is the People's Academy, and the people aim to be as healthy and as prospering as they possibly can be, as we possibly can. Life is for the living, and life is such a beautiful element. Thank you for tuning in today. I see you in the house, Masji, on YouNow. We are so very grateful to have you in our family here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.